This is the Xactimate Mastery Basic Roof Sketch series. In this next video, we're going to be talking about basic gable roof sketches, and we are already in the Sketch tab in Xactimate, ready to go. Once we're in Sketch, we're going to go ahead and take a look here at the roof that we are creating. It is a gable-style roof. It is 20 feet in length and 14'6" in width. In my classes, we always call the left to right dimension the length, and the north-south direction is going to be your width. Just so you can follow me, when I talk about these sketches in depth in the future, you'll understand that when I'm say length, I'm going left to right, and when I say width, we're going north to south. So I'm in the sketch screen of Xactimate, and you've got a roof icon up here in the top left corner where you can drop down the list next to the roof icon and choose which kind of roof that you'd like. However, I like to teach you shortcuts when we're going through this process, and the more shortcuts I can teach you, the more time that you'll save when you're writing estimates and sketching and doing all of these actions. So the shortcut for roof is actually F. The way that I say to remember this is think of fall off the roof, something you do not want to ever do, but it does kind of trigger in your mind, okay, yeah, roof, F. So the F key on your keyboard is the shortcut to pulling up the roof and attaching it to your cursor. So I've got the roof attached to my cursor, and I can actually move that around in the window. It is not yet active until I left-click once to place that roof. So I've got a gable-style roof. I left-click once to place it. Now it's active, and I can tell that it's active because I can see the 4 handles, one handle for each side of the roof there. My annotations have shown up here. So the annotations will tell me how many squares of the roof. It also tells me the pitch. So the 412 pitch is what we're looking at. It's the rise over run here, so 412 is what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and go back to our example here. We need a 612 pitch, and we also need it to be 20 foot long and 14'6" wide. So first thing, whenever I set a roof, I immediately always set the pitch because I will forget to do it. Once I start resizing the roof and adding things on, I always forget to change the pitch. So make that a habit. Change the pitch first so that you don't forget. The pitch of the roof is going to be found in the properties of the roof. Okay, the properties are this hand hovering over this little piece of paper here. And if you don't see your properties, it's probably because you don't have your roof selected or have your roof active. So if I click somewhere in the blank space, that's all I did, just clicked, it will cause the roof to not be active anymore, and I can't see my properties. So make sure you have your roof selected by simply clicking on it. That'll cause those properties to come back. Or you can lasso it. If you have, a multifaceted roof, then you would need to lasso to select all. So lassoing is left click holding and dragging this dotted line around your roof. All right, let's get into the properties here. I'm going to left click once in the properties. Here we can rename our roof. We can call it gable. That's always fun, nice to tell us what part of the roof we're working on. So I'm just going to call it a gable roof here. And your slope or pitch is going to be down underneath dimensions. Okay, so you've got your dimensions section here. At the very end of the dimensions column there, you've got slope, rise over 12. If you do not see slope, rise over 12, that probably means that your dimension section has not been expanded. So if you see a plus sign next to dimensions, that means that there's more to see, and you can go ahead and expand that by clicking on the plus sign. So anywhere in your properties where you see that plus sign, there's more to see. It has not been expanded. All right, now that we've expanded our dimensions, go down to the bottom there, slope, rise over 12. I'm going to click on it. When I click on the slope, it allows this drop down to appear. Notice that if I don't click on these the slope, you don't get the drop down where you can edit the slope. So A and B, yes, they're going to be the same slope on this roof, and they're both going to be 6 inches over 12. So 612 is the pitch, A and B is the same. All right. A side note here, you'll see these locks over here to the right. If Xactimate is not letting you change a dimension, whether it be, the length or width of the roof or maybe the pitch, it won't let you change that. It's because one of these locks has been locked. So anytime it's throwing a fit and not letting you change something, go check your locks here in the properties and make sure that you've got them all unlocked there before you try to change something, whether it be the length or the width or the pitch. All right, so to close the properties, let's go ahead and click into the white space. So I'm going to just click in blank space there, and that has adjusted my pitch. I can tell here because of the annotations. Now these annotations are great. It's nice to check your pitch. It's nice to see the total square feet and squares of roofing, but they get in the way whenever I start to dimension. So I actually like to turn them off or actually delete them. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight those by clicking on them. And then I'm just going to tap the delete key on my keyboard to delete those annotations and get them out of my way. All right, so let's work on dimensioning this gable roof. It's going to be 20 foot long and 14 foot 6 wide. Right now, it's okay. I guess I could grab some handles here and get dimensioning, but I like to work with it right up in my face. Like I like to be zoomed in so I can see every detail of this roof. So what I'm going to do is Control-Shift-, and that's going to pull this roof up into my window and give me lots of, just really expand it and allow me to see it. The other thing that I have not talked about is I like to have a lot of real estate for sketching. So you'll see over here off to the left I've got a search window, and then on the bottom I've got my items window. These windows kind of inhibits us dimensioning and working with the sketch as well, so I like to close them unless I'm using them. And we won't be using them at all during this basic roof sketching process, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this little X in the corner and close all these windows. There's going to be 3 on the left hand side and then 1 across the bottom. There. Now I've got lots of real estate for my sketch. My sketch kind of got off to the side though here, so I'm going to go ahead and Control-Shift-, to bring it up and center it in the window. That looks good. All right, so let's go ahead and dimension this this sketch. Notice that I'm missing my length. I can't see my length. It's actually hidden from me here. I have a new laptop that I probably should adjust some settings, but the Control-Shift-, caused my length to go missing. There's 2 things I can do to remedy that. The first one would be to move the roof itself, which you can do by clicking on the little red diamond here. I can left click, hold, and drag and move that roof down. Or I can move the sketch plane. All right, so what I mean by that is if you tap your space bar, your cursor becomes a little hamburger helper hand. There you'll see it. It looks like a little glove. And you can left click, hold, and drag in the blank space out here to move that roof around. So 2 ways to do that. Again, you can either move the roof itself or tap your space bar, and that's your pan tool is what that's called. I prefer the pan tool due to the fact that when I attach other roof extensions and multifaceted roofs, if I grab the roof itself, I might move it away from my roof extensions, all right? So if I can use the pan tool, then I can just move the background of the sketch. That means I won't mess with my roofs and how they're oriented next to each other and things like that. So I prefer the pan tool, but just wanted to demonstrate that you can move the roof if you need to. Now let's go ahead and dimension this roof. So I can click on the handle that's catty-corner to the dimension that I am going to edit. So in other words, I can't click on this handle here right underneath the length because we're trying to adjust this 12 foot to 20 feet. And it took me about a week when I first started learning this program to fight that instinct of grabbing this handle. So that's not the correct handle. You want to use the one that's catty corner or opposite. So if I left click on this right hand side handle, you can see that the 12 has become active. It's in blue. So Xactimate, whenever something's active or can be edited, it becomes blue, as this 12 has. So I can click on that and just type in 20 feet. I want to teach you guys to try to type in your dimensions rather than left click, holding, and dragging when performing the roof sketch because it is a lot more precise, and you'll see how it actually affects our rafter lengths and squares and things later on as we get going on this. Now I want to edit my width. My width, of course, I can't use that handle, that dang handle I want to use. I have to use the one that's catty corner. So I'm going to left click once on that, left click on the dimension, and type it into the box here. I'm going to use 14,6. All right, 14,6. Xactimate will take those dimensions and turn it into feet and inches. So I don't have to type in the quotation marks there. I can just go ahead and leave it at 14, comma or apostrophe will work either way. I used to use my comma, but then I found that it's too close to the period there, and 14.6 is totally different than 14'6". So I changed to using the apostrophe here. The comma does work. That would work just fine, but it's way too close to the period and things were becoming fractions instead of inches. So we've got to watch out for that. So I use the 14'6". Here's what we're going to use. Then I'm going to hit the Enter key to allow the dimensions to come into the window. I'm I'm going to pan here so we can check our dimensions. There we go. 20 by 14'6" is looking real good. Let's go ahead and check our dimensions to the PDF here. Yep, we've got our rafter lengths looking good. We've got our span looking good over there. This is a good place for me to talk about your dimensions being off from mine. So as long as you're within an inch of what I've got going on here, you're safe, you're golden. This is an estimating program. It is not CAD. It's not an architectural program. So in an estimating program, they're going to round up and down to the nearest inch, and that's why you might be off, from me. If you're off more than an inch, it may be due to the fact that your pitch is not set up correctly or something like that. If you're having any issues, you can email me at alina@xm8mastery.com. Last but not least, let's go ahead and talk about 3D, the 3D view. Simply hitting your 3 on your keyboard will bring up the 3D view. And you can zoom out using your zoom tools, whether it's the minus key or the plus sign. Also, if you have a mouse wheel in between the two mouse buttons on a PC mouse, you can roll in and roll out using that mouse wheel. Okay, but also to turn your roof, you can left click, hold, and drag in the blank space, and that's going to orient your roof for you. Right, so it's always fun to take a look and see what's going on. Of course, this is a gable-style roof, so you've got the gable ends here, your two slopes, and looks pretty good to me. To get back to your plan view, it's the number 1 on your keyboard, so that's what it's called, plan view, number 1. Your view options are located in the bottom right corner of your screen. You've got a couple different ones. You've got your 3D view. You've also got an elevation view. So if you want to view the 2D side of something, if I use my elevation tool, I can hover near this gable end of this roof, right? Because there's a 2D side where it might be painted or siding might be located. I can hover my mouse cursor near that gable end, left click once, and that shows me the side of the roof there, or the side of the gable end. I could go into its properties and even see its square foot if I wanted to. All right, so there's a variables section for you to view the square foot of things. I'm going to go back to plan view. I'm just going to tap the 1 on my keyboard. All right, that has been basic roof sketching. You've created your first roof. Congratulations. In our next video, we're going to create a basic hip roof.